Guys, help me get to 100,000 subscribers by subscribing to the channel if you already haven't. Like the video and turn on notifications to never miss another video again. Now let's begin. One of the guys, Tyrone, Ray Ray, Pookie, and Terry Crews, he commented this, and I wanted to talk about this just very briefly. He said, "What do you think about the immigration problem in New York, Angry?" And I find that very interesting because what we're actually seeing in New York is an example of accidental socialism. Just like how Venezuela ended up with accidental socialism, we're seeing a bit of accidental socialism. Now, keep in mind, this is nowhere near as extreme as Venezuela. But what's happening in New York, because I'm from New York, so I follow New York's news, and I find it intriguing what's happening in New York right now is that, and I don't know if you've been following it at all, but there's, the mayor from the governor of Texas has been busing tons and tons of immigrants to New York because to the different sanctuary cities, but especially New York. And they actually, these guys have literally overwhelmed, they're outright overwhelming the city's resources. And it's so intriguing because, for example, the social services system, people who have paid taxes actually, that are born in New York, born in the United States, or that immigrated to the United States and they are permanent residents. These people that rely on the rely on the social services system for things like cash benefits, specifically food stamps, they have not been able to get their food stamps for months because the people that have come to New York, that are being bused into New York, have overwhelmed that system. New York right now is literally out of money. And Eric Adams, that's the current mayor of New York, who was a former police officer, has basically said that they're on their own. He's crying all over the place. He went to Washington, D.C., I believe a couple of weeks ago, trying to meet
asking
with Biden.
For more money.
You heard about it. And what happened? They said Biden, he basically said that you're on your own. They're not giving him anything. In fact, but he said that he hadn't spoken to Biden in like a year or over a year. And right now in New York, they're cutting all the programs in New York. So, for example, police officers, they're not hiring any more police officers. They don't have the funds to do that. And over 2,500 police officers actually quit in New York already. We are now going to return in New York. They are going to return to the lowest level of police available on the streets since the 1990s. So we're going to have the lowest levels of police officers in New York since the 1990s. And those were terrible, terrible days. And we are seeing literal increases in crime and so forth. And of course, the media is trying to downplay it, but it is a very, very grave situation there. And not only are they making those cuts, but they're cutting summer school programs. They're cutting back on tons of different programs. They're shutting down schools. Because they do not have the money for this. And these kids can barely read and write. Many of them cannot read and write. If you thought Gen Z was bad, Gen Alpha, the generation that comes after Gen Z, these guys are 13 years old right now. They're going to be 14. They're going on 14. Many of them are going to be entering high school in a year or two.
And they cannot read or write. That's true.
You can see the stupid. You can see the literal stupid on the faces of a lot of these children. And I hate to say it like that, but it's the honest truth. You can see the absolute stupid on their faces. You can see the ignorance on their faces. And New York is an example of what happens when when socialism begins to take off. Because what they're doing is they're putting these people in hotels. And they've overwhelmed, and they're putting these people in hotels. They're giving these people food stamps. They're giving these people cash assistance and cash benefits. They're, free health care. And where's all of this money supposed to come from? That money has basically been sucked out of the city's budget. So now the city does not have money to pay its police officers. So no police officers, no policing on the streets. So you do not have safe streets anymore. Food stamps. Go ahead.
Yeah, definitely. I had talked about it before in another live stream, how not only can they not afford to hire more police, even if they wanted to, nobody wants to be a cop anymore because of everything that's going on with the cops, who try to basically do their jobs, and then they're the ones who end up in prison for doing their job. So no one's going to be a cop anymore. There's no incentive. Who's gonna sign up to make 50, 60,000 a year just so you could potentially end up in jail for just doing your job, for trying to defend yourself or defend a citizen, a civilian, but because for whatever reason, you fired your firearm and somebody's feelings got hurt. Now you're the one who has to defend yourself. Even cops, not only is it the civilians trying to protect themselves, even the cops, whenever you fire your firearm, you are guilty until proven innocent. You have to defend yourself. That is crazy. And that is why people, it doesn't matter if they have the money to pay the cops. No one's going to apply for the job anymore anyways. Secondly, not only is the city broke, but the charities are broke too, because I was watching a video for Thanksgiving. They were talking about how like all the immigrants, there was like a charity that, they gave out Thanksgiving dinner and everything. They said all the immigrants basically camped out all night long. They took all the food, and by the time the regular New York citizens came, the New York homeless people came, there was no food left for them on Thanksgiving. So the state is out of money. The charities are out of money. Anybody who's trying to help anybody, they don't have any more money to help. So there's nowhere to go for help anywhere.
And the crazy thing is this, here's something very crazy. So Tyrone points this out. He said New York only has 100,000 out of the 2 million migrants that Texans have had to deal with. And Eric Adams is complaining. Now, this really shows how things truly are, because they act like there's an unlimited amount of funds to take care of these people. But in reality, there's not an unlimited amount of funds. There's not unlimited amounts of labor. We're facing a massive labor shortage as men are dropping out of Western society, out of the workforce, refusing to do, especially these blue-collar jobs, construction, repair, a lot. And even not just that, even in robotics, men are dropping out at the highest levels and the lowest levels. Very soon, you'll have men who say, yeah, I won't even get out. I won't even clean the streets. I don't have to do sanitation. I won't wake up and go and, clean the streets and pick up the trash. I can sit home and I can do some day trading and make my money that way. And I can survive. And you made a great point that a lot of the police officers, they've been moving to Florida. The governor of Florida has been stealing these officers for over a year now.
That's what I was going to say too. There was a legitimate news article that came out that I watched that all these other states are going to New York because they're trying to up their police force, and they're saying, "Hey, we're going to pay you more. Just come over here." They're paying these New York police officers to relocate to be police in their states. So New York is really screwing themselves over in regards to the police force.
The crazy thing is that this is not even true socialism. This is just a tiny little fragment of what they can't even handle 100,000 people, giving them some food stamps and shelter, and they want to, and then you've got Erica, what's his name, Andrew Yang, the ghost of Andrew Yang won't stop haunting Western society, that's pushing for a UBI. And I truly believe that based on what's happening with women and what modern Western society as men are walking away, they're going to force it. Some type of UBI is coming, some type of large social welfare program is coming, but it's not going to be more than a couple $100 a month. Checks for $400, $800. It's not. I don't even think it'll reach $800. But even if it does, it won't be enough to live off. It won't be enough to. It will not be enough to survive on. And the crazy thing is, you're going to have these women trying to live on it, trying to survive on it. And the thing is, for a man doesn't need a lot to survive. The average guy, you give him $12,000 a year of untaxed money, or let's say $800 a month, so $9,600 a year. The average dude who already has some savings, he'll just take that. He'll take that money, fly out of the country, move to the Philippines, set up an apartment, everything he needs there, pay $120, $150 a month. $150 a month to rent out a house or an apartment. That works out to only $1,800 a year. He still has a ton of money left over, house fully furnished, flat screen, flat panel television, PlayStation 5, everything he needs, already has his gaming laptop. He has, insurance, traveler's insurance on everything, and he's living fine. Or if he stays in Western society, because not all passport bros are men walking away, but not all men walking away are passport bros. For those men walking away that don't leave the United States, they'll rent a camper or get a van, put it on a piece of land, live there, in the camper, paying no rent, no month, no
Mhm.
rent, nothing. Live very very cheap, very very
Yep.
cheap, shower at the gym, and they are happy, extremely happy, and they're living for the man, a man, he's living a high quality life, because for men less is more. Men live, for men don't like clutter, men don't like all that other stuff. Women are the ones who like to pile junk around them and pile up all this stuff and acquire all the stuff that they don't need. Men like simplicity. That's why you'll see a guy, some pictures online of a guy in a, sleeping in a sleeping bag on the floor with video games in front of him, and that's, and like bottle of water, and women are like, how can you live, how can men live this way? He's having the time of his life. He's living out of a backpack. He has he doesn't have to do any cleaning. He has everything he needs, and and all of his money is going in the bank. He's living a calm, relaxed life. He's sleeping, he's eating, he's enjoying the things he enjoys, and he doesn't have the burden of a woman or a family to go along with it. And hey, if he ever wants to, have intimacy, he'll fly over to TJ. He'll fly over to Mexico, go over to Hong Kong. You've probably heard of Hong Kong. Have you heard of Hong Kong?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Most guys have heard of, know about the red light district in Tijuana. They'll fly over to TJ. They'll go over to Hong Kong or any other place. There's an alley over there. You can spend $30 to get anything you like. And they'll fly over there on a weekend, have some fun, then come back and continue living. A lot of dudes are living out of a backpack right now. And it's like they don't even comprehend it. And another important thing about, that's about this case of accidental socialism, and it's not even true socialism. It's just like, it's basically like, just a peak of of things to come. UBI would only add to inflation, and no way would it be enough to live on. So yeah, if you think the inflation that's occurring right now is bad, it would only get worse.
Yeah, I think you're right. The UBI is going to be like, they're going to give you like $200-300 a month just to kind of help you, with your bills, but because they still need you to work, right? They still need you to pay taxes and things like that. So the UBI is only going to be a couple hundred a month just to help you a little bit
Hmm.
with all the single mothers crying. And this guy talking about I think the EBT system will crash. It did last summer for one day. That is true. It did crash for one day. Uh,
I wasn't aware of
I
that.
I remember, yeah, in Texas, like for one day, all the single mothers were crying that they didn't get their checks. So it was kind of, it actually made the news. I think they were like there was like some woman talking about, how am I supposed to feed my babies? And it was like literally one day, and then they got their check the next day. But
Yeah. The thing
the
is,
EBT
go ahead.
the EBT system ultimately will crash, just the way the Social Security system will.
Yes.
It, it's
Yes.
just a matter of time. And also, China has already told the U.S. that they need to get rid of their EBT system if they want to start paying back their debt. If they want to start paying down their debt, China said you have to get, if they were to get rid of the EBT system, they could pay off the debt. This is what China told the U.S. because China wants their money.
It's
So
so crazy because, I had been doing a little bit of math. I've been looking at, the cost of homelessness, or rather the economics of homelessness. And I realized pretty quickly that a lot of these people who are, they're doing the whole homelessness thing. These people are really robbing the system. They are absolutely scamming the system. 100%
mhm.
scamming the system, because the amount of money that these people are getting, that they are making from the system, is absolutely ridiculous. If when you start to look at the benefits, when you start to look at the benefits that these people receive from living off, welfare programs, social welfare programs, it's massive. I want to just go over the list I made very quickly, and of course, I made it quickly, so it's not going to be perfect, but we're going to look at something very quickly. For example, these people living on the streets, they get free food being brought to them every single day. If you were to quantify that and break that down, like compare that to like the cost of Uber Eats and having food prepared for you, even just sandwiches, but these meals, because these people are eating, they're out there and
I'm
they eat
gonna
a
I'm
lot
gonna
of
step
food.
away. I'm gonna step
Yeah,
away for like 1 minute while you do that.
Yeah, go right
I'll
ahead.
be right. I'll be right back.
Yeah, I mean, guys, it's absolutely insane what's happening in Western society right now. But looking, I mean, look at the list, guys. Look at this list that I put together. That when we break things down, they receive, let's say, about at least $50 a day. That's conservative in just free food, living on the streets. That equals 18. So $50 a day. That works out to $1,500 a month. That's equivalent to $18,000 a year. $18,000 a year, guys. Okay, and free food that they're getting just by living on the streets are depending on the social services system, so food pantries and so forth. Okay, but it doesn't just end there. Then there's the food stamps. They get around $280 a month just for one person, and if they have a family, they're collecting $1,200. In single mothers are getting like $1,200 $1,200 a month in food stamps. For a single mother, that's, I mean, that's a ridiculous, that's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, the food budget for these people is going to be so crazy that works out to $14,400. So they're getting, almost, single mothers are getting, with just a handful of kids, are getting roughly like almost $15,000 a month in food. But just the average person living off the welfare system, that's, at $280 a month, that works out to $3,360. So these people living off the system are actually receiving around 21,300 at a conservative estimate. This is like the bare minimum. This is a conservative estimate. They're receiving around $21,360 a month in food related benefits, a year in food related benefits. This is madness. The average health insurance for the average person is about $477 a month. If you have if you're working for a company, they subsidize your health insurance, and then the cost for the employee is around like $117. But the actual cost is about $477 a month. That's how much it actually costs to insure a person. So these people who are living off the system, they're getting free health insurance, and that in health insurance works out to $5,724 a year. All right, and I mean, if we keep on going, we add cell phone. There's a thing called the ACP program, which basically gives them a credit so that they'll pay $30 a month for their cell phone. Guys, they can go and get Metro PCS or choose from a bunch of other different companies, and they basically will have they'll basically pay nothing for their cell phone. They'll pay $0 for their cell phone. So that works out to $360 a year. Okay, so their cell phone bill is being covered. Clothes and toiletries, take this into consideration. There are people always going around handing out clothing, toiletries, blankets. And I actually estimated this at $50 a month. It's way more than 50 a month. Let me make it very clear. It's way more. It's more like 100, 200. It could be hundreds of dollars. But at just $50 a month, that works out to $600 a year in benefits that they're receiving from clothing, toiletries, blankets, etc., living off the government and charities and people that go around giving them these things. They also get access to things like free haircuts. All right, so just like, let's say two haircuts a month, and many of them get more than, they're constantly stunting. So let's say that works out to $25 per haircut, because based on this in the inflation today, and some haircuts are more than that. But let's say two haircuts. One haircut is about $25. So let's say they get two of them a month. That works out to $50. That's another $600 a year that they're sucking from the economy, that they're sucking from people. Then let's keep going.
Yeah.
A lot of these people, they don't sleep on the streets. They sleep in shelters. A lot of them have
Mm-hmm.
access to shelters, but they choose to sleep. They choose to continue being perpetually homeless. If you're enjoying the content, help us get to 100,000 subscribers by subscribing to the channel if you already haven't. Turn on notifications, never miss another video again, and like the video. Like the video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you like the video, share the video. And just remember that all roads lead to MWA, man. Walking away. You ready for it, bro?
Cheers.
Cheers.